Good morning, Everyday Math. Here is our joke for today. What is the best way to carve wood? Whittle by whittle. That's right, whittle by whittle. Alright, I am at page 240 in your math journal. Now, just a reminder, the assignment says start at 239, but that's the math boxes, so we're starting at 240. So don't forget to do page 239. Okay, we continue with our algebra problems, as you can tell right here. And now we're just taking away the balance, and you're just writing out what to do to solve for x, or your variable. So we have to do a few things first. We need to define a few things. Obviously, I've called this a variable. And that means any kind of letter that we use to try to find the number. What does that number equal? That's the variable, or letter equal, excuse me. Alright, so here's a new one. Number 4 here is called something, it's called a coefficient. So the coefficient is the number that's being multiplied to a variable. It's kind of like in front of it. So we know that what's really happening between 4 and x is multiplication. It's 4 times x. But when we write it as an algebraic problem, we always write it as 4x, 4 times x. But that's what it means. So the 4 is called a coefficient. That's when you have the multiplication being happening. So technically, right here, this has a coefficient of 1, but we don't need to write the 1, just because we can say it's 1x. We don't need to write 1, but you could if you wanted. But that's not what we're going to do. So you're going to be breaking down the steps on how to solve for x, how to find our variable. Alright, the first thing that we want to do is that we want to get x's on the same side. So we want to get rid of an x on one side. So we're either going to need to take away 4x or going to need to take away x. So I think it's easier to take away x. It's easier to do 4 minus x, or 4x minus 1x, compared to x minus 4x. So I'm going to say our first step, and just like in your journal, this is how it's going to look. You're going to write, so we're going to use our, how do they say it again? The short way. So this is s, so s means subtract, s, x. Alright, so, excuse me, I'm getting a phone call. Throw that away. Alright, so s, x, I'm subtracting an x from both sides. So when I do that, I'm going to end up with 3x minus 6 equals 3. Because I've subtracted x from both sides, this x has gone away, and we have one less x on the other side. Alright, now I want to get the x all by itself. So I see that I have this 6 connected to it. It doesn't have an x, so that's easy to work with. And since there's subtraction going on, we are going to do the opposite. So that is to add. So my second step is to do a6. I'm going to add 6 to each side. So if I add 6, this 6 goes away, so I'm just left with 3x. If I add 6 to 3, I'm going to get 9. Alright, last step, got to get x all by itself. So I need to divide by 3. Remember, multiplication is happening between the 3 and the x. So for step number 3, I'm going to write d3. Divide both sides by 3. So when I do that, I get x equals 3. And there we go. We have solved our answer. It's good to do the breakdown of the steps, making sure that you are solving your work correctly. And yeah, so let's do one example, first example in the book together. So our first example for number 1 is 11y minus 4 equals 9y. Minus 4 equals, come on, Mr. T, equals 9y. Alright? Just making sure I got that right. Okay. So this is an interesting problem. We want to get our y's by themselves. However, our problem is that if we subtract this 9y, if we subtract a 9y from each side, we end up with a 0, and we don't really ever want to do that. You always want to make sure you have something on the opposite side. You don't want to end up with 0. So just for that reason, we're actually going to subtract 11y from each side. So step 1, subtract 11y. Alright, so if I do that, our equation now becomes negative 4 equals negative 2y. Our negative 4 has stayed the same, nothing's changed about that, but because we have taken away 11, we have 9 minus 11, which leaves us with negative 2. Alright, so now we need to get y all by itself, so we need to divide by negative 2. So we write d, negative 2. We divide both sides by negative 2, and we would end up with y equals positive 2. Okay, so there's your steps. That's how you break it down. This is something that you will see for quite a while as you continue through math here in Platinum. And if you have any questions, always ask for help, and I will see you in real life.